Yo, what's going on everyone? Welcome back to another video, and today we're gonna take a look at if it is actually better to buy these scroll feeding magazines or if it is actually better to buy these push feeding magazines only with a spring in it. So yeah, stay tuned. Okay, so firstly, now let's get into these scroll feeding magazines. So these scroll feeding magazines, if you wouldn't know, they basically run on principle on which you basically put your BBs right into this hole, and then you basically have this scrolling wheel or cog wheel or how you want to call it, and you basically need to actually pull it to the side and like scroll it, so it would actually round up the BBs and just load it into the with the spring to the gun, basically, right? So you just need to after let's say 10 to 20 to 30 BBs, I don't know the exact number, it probably even depends on your magazine that you got and from for which gun actually also, but just after some BBs, let's say, you just need to scroll it. So let's say I'm just gonna, with my M4, I might actually shoot around 40 BBs with it, and then I just need to do this. Yeah, for around like 10 seconds maybe on the field. So you might actually notice that it might be actually a bit fucking annoying to actually play airsoft, and you have maybe full metal replica, and as I do, and now out of nowhere you just get really immersed in it. You just really start to have fun, and everything feels like the real war and shit, and you actually start to enjoy it. And then after like you see an enemy, and after 40 BBs that you shoot at him and you miss all of them, you just need to now scroll, and you just need to do so I mean it is pretty annoying. Secondly, it ruins somewhat of the immersion the immersion that you can experience while playing airsoft. And the third problem is basically that it is super ineffective. Probably the third reason, the ineffectiveness of it, is the core reason why I actually switched now for these push feeding magazines. But it necessarily doesn't mean that they are better, in every aspect, or that you only need to buy push feeding magazines, because I will get to them later. But now we still have a discussion to have about these scroll feeding magazines, and that's basically. Now I listed all of the downsides, but now let's actually take a look at the upsides, right? So basically the upside is, as I said, you put the BBs in this hole that you got in there, and the main advantage of it is basically you can round up to 300, 400, 500 or maybe 600 BBs in it in some cases. So I think this is around 500 BBs, maybe 600, but now I will show you one that I got for I think around 700 BBs. That's this. Yeah, look at it. I mean, it is I would say pretty large, or like larger in comparison to this standard magazine. So yeah, I actually can put there maybe around 100 BBs extra, but the advantage of actually carrying 600 BBs is that you don't need to reload as often, and also the advantage, right? And also you can carry only one or two. So I mean, hey, only thing you need to do is to just carry one, full it to the maximum, and just put it in your pocket, or I don't know, some pouch that you got, and yeah, basically, or even to the gun, and just spray the enemy with 40 rounds, then just load it up for 5 seconds, and just scroll it up for 5 seconds, and then just shoot again for another, let's say 3 seconds, or another 40 BBs. So this is basically the core principle of these scroll feeding magazines. But also there's one thing, and that's you need to keep in mind that if you actually run with it and you have it fully loaded, or not even fully loaded, but you got it loaded, the scroll feeding magazines are gonna do really a lot of sound. And what do I mean by sound is basically this. So now I will put it to my replica and show you how it actually sounds like in a combat. So I decided to take my M4 for this test, and now, yeah, I got it in, and now listen. Okay, so it is extremely fucking loud, and I must say, it is a real problem, because maybe with some dude who's got a helmet for airsoft or this paintball helmet for airsoft, maybe they don't hear that good, so maybe you can flank them and they won't hear you, but usually most people play with, I think, heads, or like maybe without any head, so they will definitely hear you. And yeah, it is really bad when you play, for example, in forest, and you are even stepping on some dead bushes and shit, and like leaves on the ground, so it makes sound. But on top of that, you actually make additional sound by just you having this scrolling magazine, you know, and just every move that you make with your replica is just fucking, you know, being really loud, and people can just identify you for miles basically away and just shoot you. So you might actually want to ask me like, okay man, so if scroll feeding magazines are so trash, what should I play with instead? And well, here comes these push feeding magazines. And basically, I'm not necessarily a hater of these scroll feeding magazines, but you know, as you know, as I said, I played with them for 2 years, but man, I just bought 4 of these push feeding magazines, and yeah, I really like them. I like them better. So now I will actually, or let's, you know what, let's get into these push feeding magazines. First of all, let's talk about the advantages of these push feeding magazines. First advantage, well, they are really quiet and no one actually hears you. If you have it fully loaded, it makes sound like this. And makes sound like this in your replica. You know, so it is really quiet, I must say, and definitely in some CQB areas or some close quarters, you actually want to, when you are really close to your enemy, or even in some forest when you are really close to the enemy, you want to make as little noise as possible, and it is only, I think, you are really only able to do that and to stay quiet and silent only with these push feeding magazines. Another advantage is basically, and also this can count as a disadvantage, because these magazines are only for usually 130 to 150 BBs, so they are only 140, let's say on average, BBs, and yeah, to some people it can seem like they are, you know, not as good, because they got really small capacity, and you want the magazine with as much as BBs that you can possibly get, right? Which is completely understandable, but on the other hand, you don't need to scroll anything. There's no scrolling wheel, and yeah, you probably need this tool that you just, you know, squeeze, and it basically loads up the BBs in. Otherwise, if you would just, you know, after, because there's no hole that you can just, you know, get all of these BBs, you just need to, you know, one by one just get them in. So by only your hand it would be actually really inefficient. But if you got this tool, I think I got it somewhere, so I will just show you on the screen now. If you got somewhere this tool, definitely use it. And basically the advantage now is that you, well, only have these 140 BBs on average, but still you don't need to scroll anything, and you can just shoot non-stop, and this is pretty good. So you are silent and you can shoot non-stop. I mean, these are basically all of the advantages that you got with these push feeding magazines, and yeah, I think they are absolutely worth it. But now let's actually talk about some of the disadvantages. So the main disadvantage is basically that they are really, you know, low in capacity. They can only carry 140 BBs on average, as I told you. For usual M4s and AKs it's the same, you know, 140 on average. But So you need to buy actually more of them. I bought 4 of them, but now unfortunately one of them got lost on some airsoft field, so I got only 3 of them. I will just now show you them. Yeah, here they are. 1, 2, and 3. They are all you know, push feeding, you know, no scroll wheel, no hole in it. I got basically 3 of these full metal M4 magazines from Sima company, basically push feedings, push feeding, and yeah, I'm really okay with them. But there's one downside. Well, there are several downsides. So the first is basically small capacity of BBs, but you know, you need to decide if you actually want to spam the enemy and you are okay with scrolling it every 5 seconds, or like 4 or 5 seconds after every 40 shots or some-ish shots. Or you want something like this that you can shoot non-stop. So basically the main disadvantage is this: low capacity. It is pretty expensive because you need to buy like 4 of them, and the third disadvantage is it takes a lot of space. So, and 4 is that you... 4? My finger is dying. Okay, so fourth advantage is basically you need to reload a lot. So basically, after 140 BBs, it's not like you need to scroll anything, you just need to... it is empty, so you need to pull it down, put it into some of your pockets and get the other one and just load the other one in it. You know, and this might actually take up to maybe 10 to 15 seconds, depends on the gear that you got. So these are basically 4 main disadvantages of these magazines, but I must say they are worth it, and I would rather just reload, you know, switch the magazine after every, I don't know, 140 BBs, and the reloading process would actually take me up to maybe 15-20 seconds behind some cover. I would rather do that than needing to scroll every 20 or 30 seconds and being really loud. These are all of the facts, I think, or all of the... Yeah, I think these are all of the facts and advantages or slash disadvantages that I ran across while running the push feeding magazines and the scroll feeding magazines. And now it is basically up to you. You need to decide what you're gonna take, what you're gonna prefer. And yeah, for the beginners, I would probably recommend maybe to try it out, just for trying out the airsoft for some few, I don't know, 1, 2 or 3 first battles, right? You might actually want to... Why am I so bright? You might actually want to try this scroll feeding magazine, or just buy it from someone because you don't have the extra gear. But if you are somewhat more advanced, or you want to take airsoft seriously and get immersed to the game, definitely buy push feeding. So that's all. Definitely leave me a like and subscribe. Maybe write nice or ugly comment in the comment section. Just let me know what you think and what do you play with. And yeah, see you in the next one.